Okay, this is Kevin and Sam on the Rock Train. Tonight we're in Newark at a place called Mint Leaf, a nice Indian bar stroke restaurant, and we're with Melissa from Ionia. Hi there.
Hello, nice to see you.
And you? We bumped into you recently at Bloodstock. You didn't play, but you're there as a fan.
Yeah, definitely there as a fan. Knew a couple of the bands that were playing, so came down to support them.
Brilliant. And Ionia are playing some shows at the moment. Do you like to tell us the shows that you've got coming up?
Well, we're in Dudley on Thursday for a showcase. On Saturday, we are opening the stage for Martin Walker's Viking Funeral, which is in aid of cancer research. It's free entry, but everybody's expected to make a donation to cancer research, and that is down at the Irish Club in Nottingham. The other sort of big shows that we've got coming up are on the 7th of October. We've just been given our first support slot at Corporation in Sheffield. We're playing with Warrior Soul. And we're also playing the Warhorns Winter Festival in Selby in December, on the 1st of December. So we've got lots of other stuff going on at the minute as well. Oh, and Valkyrian Fest. We're doing an acoustic set at Valkyrian Fest, which is another charity event that's going to be in Bridlington in November.
Is there any new music coming out at all?
Yes, we took August off from gigging in order to start writing some new music. So we've got a new song that's probably about 80% there, and another one that's about 45-50%, and another one that's more a collection of riffs at the minute that needs sort of moulding. We're hoping to record another EP in sort of February, March time of 2013.
Can you tell us a little bit about the background of the band and how it came about and what you've been doing lately?
Basically, the drummer, Tony, and I were in a band called Cathexis that started back in 2007. And that band unfortunately dissolved in 2009. So we didn't do anything really for about a year. And then we were contacted by another band who had lost their vocalist and drummer and asked if we wanted to continue on. And we said sure. Toward the end of Cathexis, we were going to have to change our names because of copyright. There was a band called Cathexis in America that got signed. So we'd agreed then that we were going to change the name to Ionia, but we never really played any shows with that name. So basically we just restarted it, took some of the old Cathexis songs, wrote a couple of new songs, and we've had several lineup changes, but we've kept the guitarist from that band, who is a really, really talented guy, really creative. His name's James, aka Carrot. And we've had a couple of lineup changes, so we've got a new guitarist and a new bassist that have come in from there. But we're back to having a stable lineup. Been stable for nearly 9 months now, so that's almost as long as it takes to have a baby. So we're hoping that this we're hoping that this one will stick, and we've got a really good collection of musicians who are talented but are also really nice guys and really fun to work with.
Yeah, brilliant. That's a lot to do with it, and having the fun and getting together. Who does the writing in the band?
At the minute, mostly James. Carrot, the lead guitarist, he's written most of the new material. Again, he brings stuff down. Tony, the drummer, is very good at sort of song structures and knowing what's catchy and being able to shape things. So Carrot will come down with sort of a 10-minute song, and at the end of it, it's about 5. Everybody's really good at sort of working together. So he comes down with sort of a basic outline, and then Gary puts his spin on things, because one of the things that's unusual about Ionia is that our bassist does more than root notes. He's quite versatile.
You told us about the shows you've got coming up. Are there any bands that you'd really like to support if you had a dream and going forward to the next couple of years? If you had to approach a band and say, please let me support, who would it be?
We would absolutely love to support Epica. We've been badgering the corporation because of course they're coming over on tour. I also personally would absolutely love to support Revamp and Tarja, because with Revamp I really, really admire Flor Jansen. I think her vocals are amazing. She is, in my opinion anyway, the best female metal vocalist going at the minute, because she's just got such versatility and range in her voice. And I would also love to support Tarja, because Tarja sort of broke the way and paved the path for female metal vocalists in her role that she had in Nightwish. So in terms of bands that I personally would love to support, those three. I know our drummer would love to support Iron Maiden. However, we do know what happens to bands that support Iron Maiden. Nobody cares. They're just there to see Maiden.
Yeah.
I think the only one can get away with it probably is Alice Cooper in the last tour. This is probably the only one that gets their attention, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Do you think that, obviously being Aeonia is a female-fronted band, do you feel that, or do you think that us ladies are not very well represented in the metal world? And
it's unusual because every once in a while you'll hear somebody go, "Oh, female-fronted metal, it's everywhere now." And you see there are certain festivals. Female Voices Fest in Belgium, Ravenheart Festival that happened in Birmingham earlier this year. But if you actually look at it, I remember reading a statistic, and this included sort of pop bands and rock bands and stuff, not just metal. But in signed bands, it's something like 90% are still male fronted. And when you look at solo artists, it's closer to 50-50. But actual bands, so few of them are female fronted, and they tend to all get lumped in together as well. We get compared to Nightwish so often, but we hardly use the keyboard. So they're clearly just picking up on the vocal. My mom thinks we sound like Evanescence. She's clearly just picked out on the vocal. So I think it's something that definitely needs to be pushed forward. I have had a couple of people say to me, "I really like your music, but I don't like female vocals." You're like, well, you'd never hear somebody say, "I really like your music, but I don't like male vocals," and it's always men that say it. But then equally, 2/3 of our fan base is male, so it doesn't necessarily follow, I suppose.
And where do you get your inspiration for your outfits and your stage dress? You know, because I've noticed that, you know, because I love the corsets and the flowing skirts, and I absolutely adore your image. So where do you get your inspiration for your stage outfit?
Aeonia means where the muses dwell. It's the land in ancient Boeotia, and so I wanted to not necessarily come on stage dressed in a toga and look like a muse, but something that would evoke that sort of an image. So that's why I choose the purple, because colour of the gods, and that's why I choose sort of the longer, more flowing skirts. And the corsets, again, to suggest something more Victorian, more Gothic-y, to suggest something that's old. It's really odd as well, because by putting on those clothes, it's almost like taking on a persona or taking on a character. We played a show at the Dove and Rainbow last week, and it was a bit of a nightmare for me, because I'd actually had an audition for The Voice that day. And I got through round one, so was having to wait to go to see what was happening with round two, and so I had to go and sing for round two, and I won't know what happens with that for another month. But basically, I was very, very late. I was meant to be there at 7:30. I wound up getting there at about 9:30 because I'd been stuck in Birmingham doing this second audition for The Voice. So basically I arrived, and there wasn't enough time for me to mess about and to do the Eye of Horus on my face and to get myself into a corset, because that takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do the makeup and the clothes. So I just went on stage in what I was wearing, which was an Aeonia t-shirt, my friend's denim, jeans and rock boots, and it felt really strange. I was a lot more comfortable. I could move more easily. But it did feel very strange, and it was an odd atmosphere. A lot of our friends were there at that gig and stuff as well, so I think it felt less like a show, and it felt more like just sort of singing music on stage. So I think having like that image with the corset and the dress really helps me to get into the mindset of being on stage.
I know we've discussed this pre-interview, because I noticed that you get some of your clothes from Moon Maiden in Cornwall. So how did you come across Moon Maiden? Because obviously wearing a lot of her clothes, I just come across on the internet because I really wanted something different. So how did you get involved with Moon Maiden? Because I know she does a lot of your stage clothes and.
It was actually back during my old band, Cathexis, because I was looking for Gothic clothing, and anybody that's seen a picture of me will know that I am not your traditional size. That you can, all the goth stuff that's free size, it fits people that's size 10 to 14, and I'm a little bit bigger than that. So I actually asked in a live journal community if anybody remembers LiveJournal, sort of a precursor to Facebook, I suppose would be the best way to describe it. And just asked for recommendations, and 2 or 3 people had said that Moon Maiden Gothic was absolutely fantastic for people who didn't fit sort of the normal build, because as they said, they make stuff to order, they make stuff to fit. So I've had a few sort of dresses and skirts off them, and they've always fit perfectly, which means that they look really nice.
And they feel good.
And they feel good, yeah, and I feel more confident in myself.
Other clothes manufacturers and suppliers are available, so we don't get into trouble. But we're not compared. But yeah, it's really interesting to hear like how the stage persona is governed by what you wear and like the mindset. They must make for a better show as well for the audience. And do you find the audience ever dress up and stuff like that with your fans?
Not yet. We've got obviously we've got a very varied fan base. Everything from there's a young lad who's about 5 who his mum organised a gig for us, and he absolutely loved us, and we gave him a sticker and he's put it on his Xbox and everything, all the way up to people who are sort of 70, 80 years old. So you see everything from the crowd almost playing who can wear the oldest tour t-shirt, through to girls who are as gothed up as I am on stage. So it's really nice. I love talking to people in the audience as well. I've met so many nice people in my time in Aonia. So.
Good. And how can fans or listeners get into your music or get onto your, for example, Facebook, that sort of thing? How can they get in touch with you and speak to other fans?
Well, we've got a website. aonia.co.uk, which was very kindly designed for us for free by our good friend Sean Kennedy. And we've got links on there to Facebook and Twitter. So we are on Facebook. We're facebook.com/AoniaUK. So please like the page. We've got a competition going at the minute. The 500th person to like our page will get a free copy of the EP. What we've noticed at the minute is there seems to be a couple of people who are liking the page, then unliking the page, then liking the page, then unliking the page. So I don't know if that was maybe not the best move forward in terms of PR, but it was a good thought. It's our CD is also available for download on iTunes, Amazon. We're on Spotify. We're on Last.fm. We've got a LinkedIn profile, but LinkedIn just seems really boring. So every time I log in, I just log out again in about 5 minutes. And we've got a MySpace, but I don't think I've logged into it for.
I think MySpace has become
It's the dinosaur now, isn't it?
redundant now, is it almost? I don't know many people who use MySpace much now.
It keeps trying to kill my laptop because they've just taken a site and thrown a bucket of flash over it, and I think it's actually still got the picture of the old bassist stuck, because every time I try to change it, it doesn't save my changes. So something's wrong with MySpace. But there is a page there. So
yeah, I've noticed that notably Commander-in-Chief and the Union and other bands are starting to use like the pledge, to get them on the road and stuff like that, like the pledge system. I don't. Would it be
It's like
something
to help fund their albums?
fund their albums,
sort of thing.
tours, merchandise? Would Aonia consider something like that, to like fund an album or?
it's something actually that our good friend and probably biggest fan Harry has suggested to us before, and it is something that we would definitely consider. At the minute, we're quite lucky because we're looking like we're going to be able to fund our next album from the proceeds from the last one, and from paid gigs that we've had and t-shirt sales and stuff. But it is something that is definitely worth looking into.
Just listen to the music here. It's like the first Rock Train interview was accompanied by. It doesn't even sound like Indian, does it? It's almost Spanish, I think. Spanish Indian. Okay, throwing me right out. That is. We'd like to thank you for introducing all the songs to us, and we'd like to thank you for joining us for the interview. And we wish you lots and lots and lots of luck on The Voice for your auditions. We watched The Voice. I think it's a good programme.
Do you know who the judges are going to be?
No, I'm not sure.
So I hope you get through to the round where all the cameras are on you and everything. That'd be good.
too.
Fingers crossed.
I find out soon. So.
I think you deserve, because it's just nice to see someone like you, with such a great voice, and because you are, alternative. It's just nice to have someone who's, not run of the mill, you know, because otherwise it gets very boring, and it's just nice to see someone like yourself appear on something like The Voice, and it just gives hope to us metalheads, you know what I mean? Just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Just like good representation of what we'd like to see, good quality music.
I always like to get this question in there. It seems to come in every interview. We're based in Lincoln. Have you got any messages for the listeners of Lincoln and for the people listening online, all over the place, all over the world, hopefully?
Okay, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our music, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. We are so grateful to all of our fans and to everybody who supports what we are doing here in Aonia, and we really hope to meet you in person soon.
Thank you very much. Melissa from Aonia, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, it was a pleasure meeting you guys as well.